Get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Homesteading Off the Grid, the most popular homesteading channel on the internet that doesn't have a damn thing to do with homesteading. Today's video may or may not have something to do with him, her, it, or they in the background there. I'm in the same location where we've been potentially witnessing some phenomena here lately, picking some weird stuff up with the trail cam. The trail cam capturing what no one was supposed to see, etc. Just viewing things from a different angle. This is looking downhill instead of uphill, because on the way up here, I heard something down there, something big. So I'm going to read you a couple of stories you've not heard. I've never told these stories on this channel. They've never been published yet. They're stories that have been submitted for an upcoming version of the True Hauntings, personal stories of real experiences with the paranormal, supernatural, cryptids, etc. All things scary and spooky and unexplainable. Available on Amazon and print or Kindle. They're good stories, and I don't know when it's going to be. I don't know how long it's going to be for me to get around to making the 4th volume of this, because I'm working on so many other things. Got so many irons in the fire right now. But these stories are worth hearing, so yeah, I'll come up here from time to time and read you some of the stuff that's been submitted for an upcoming volume. This one is really neat, and I thought of this. This was submitted months and months ago. I thought of it because I saw an elderberry bush that had not ripe berries on it yet. It's just June. They ripen up towards the end of the year. But I did see one here this morning, and it made me think of this story, so I ran upstairs to the office and printed it off. So listen to the story. It's called Ghost Cobbler. It was submitted by Aaron Holmes of Georgia now, but formerly of Arkansas. And remember, listen to me, listen to the story, but watch the background for him, her, it, or they, okay? Ghost Cobbler. Hi, Kevin. I want to thank you for all the videos you make on your YouTube channel, Homesteading Off the Grid. I know your channel has nothing to do with homesteading. Well, sometimes. But I like how it has to do with life. Well, sometimes. And at other times, it's Bigfoot, Sasquatch, or ghosts, or, well, whatever you want it to be about. It reminds me of one of those old-timey variety shows. You just never know what you're going to get. And that's what makes it interesting. I haven't read all your books, but I've read most of them. One of my favorite stories from you is the story Berries of Our Elders, which appeared in one of your October Nights books. By the way, I hope you write another of those. They make October and Halloween so much more fun. Eventually. Anyway, I think the reason I like that story so much is because I have my own elderberry story. I want to share it with you, and you have my full permission to use it any way you'd like. You can read it on your YouTube channel, or you can print it in one of your books. I don't care. Well, Aaron, I'm reading it now, and it's going to go in an upcoming edition of True Hauntings. Eventually. So here's the deal. When I was young, about 10 or 12 years old, there was an old woman who lived on the outskirts of our town. She had to be 90 years old. Her name was Emma. We called her Miss Emma. As you passed Miss Emma's house, you didn't head toward anywhere else. The road just ended about a mile past where she lived. The state maintained it to that point, and then they didn't. What continued from that point was just an old, overgrown trail that at one point used to actually be railroad tracks. It was never a major railway, rather just a bit of rails that went to the top of the mountain. The purpose of the rails was to haul timber off of the top of the mountain, and this, of course, goes back about 100 years. Anyway, like many people who grew up in my part of the world, Arkansas, and back when I was growing up, I'm a baby boomer, I came from a large family, and not just brothers and sisters. I had tons of cousins. My siblings and my cousins and I used to love to walk up the old trail a mile past the old woman's house and play in the woods. There were streams up there where we'd catch crawfish and frogs. We would build forts. We did so many fun, healthy things that I think is sad the young kids these days don't do because they're too busy playing on all their electronics. Yeah, I've noticed this. My son and I went biking yesterday on some trails in a public park, middle of the afternoon, late afternoon. We saw lots of people walking, cycling, hiking, jogging. They were all boomers. And I know Gen Z's not working, but I had this they don't go out of the house and play. They're inside on gadgets. It's sad. Look at this beautiful weather. Go outside and play, Gen Z. I digress. When the elderberries would ripen toward the end of summer, and we'd be heading up the road to go up the trail and into the woods, Miss Emma would see us and come out and ask us if we'd pick her some elderberries while we were in the woods. I just heard footsteps, detected movement out of my eyes, and heard a tree knock. Did you guys catch all that? Okay. Did you see that? What was that? We're not alone. Let me continue to read the story. You get my 6 and see what may or may not be back there. Okay. Miss Emma would see us and she'd come out and ask us if we'd pick her some elderberries while we're in the woods. The first time she asked, she told us she'd bake us an elderberry cobbler. We told her we would, and we did, and when we took them to her that afternoon, she told us to come back any time the next day and she'd have our cobbler for us. The following morning, as we passed her house, sure enough, she had a cobbler sitting on her front steps, and it was delicious. It never made it home. Us kids ate it in the woods. This went on for a few summers until, sadly, Miss Emma passed away. Fast forward about 10 years. I was in college, and I'd taken a boy home with me to meet my parents because I felt that he was the one. This is crazy. It's happening again. They slip right in on us, almost within touching distance. You can hear those footsteps right here, but we can't see anything. Could be tree spirits. Watch for glitches in the matrix or glimmering, shimmer, shiny type stuff like Predator. A lot of people report seeing that. And watch for the faces in the trees too, okay? All right, the following morning as we passed her house, sure enough, there was a cobbler there. We ate it in the woods. This went on for a few summers. Okay, took a boy home from college to meet my parents because I felt that he was the one. It turned out he was the one, and we spent more than 40 years together before cancer took him from me. Anyway, he and I walked up the old trail. The fall semester had just started, and there were still quite a few elderberries on the bushes. We picked some and ate them and bagged a few up to take home. As we passed Miss Emma's old house, which was nearly falling in by this time, either out of habit or reminiscence sake, I lay a bag of the elderberries on her front steps. Kevin, the next morning, my boyfriend and I went out for a morning walk, and lo and behold, there was a freshly baked elderberry cobbler on that porch. I was convinced that one of my cousins was playing a prank on me. When I saw my cousin Sarah later that day, I asked her if it was her, and I could see her flesh break out in goosebumps, and she couldn't speak for half a minute. This frightened me more than if she had claimed it wasn't her, and I can't help but wonder if I would have been caught up in that scheme had I actually stayed. I skipped a page. Sorry about that. Well, I left it at the house. Fortunately, I read it before printing it off because I actually edited it to correct. There was one typo. So this frightened me more than if she had claimed that it wasn't her. And when she could finally speak again, she said, "OMG, that's happened to me too." So Aaron goes on to state that from time to time, either her or one of her cousins would put elderberries there on the porch to return the next morning always to a freshly baked elderberry cobbler. Get goosebumps thinking about it. She said that some of her male cousins would put elderberries out when they were ripe, Indian summertime, and they would actually stay there the whole night on the property. They'd pitch a tent, spend the night, not go to sleep. They would not see anybody And the next morning at first light, there would be a freshly baked elderberry cobbler on the porch. Now, Erin went on to share with us in her letter that she sent that she hasn't been back to Arkansas in, I think, 20 years. Her parents are long gone. If she's a baby boomer, Miss Erin, you're probably in your 70s. She says most of her family have either died or they've moved away. They've left that part of Arkansas as well. And she's in Georgia now. And she says she often wonders what might happen if she were to go back and pick some elderberries and find that old home place of Miss Emma's and put them where the porch used to be. I'm sure that house isn't there anymore. However, she says in her closing, she's pretty sure she knows. So that's a really creepy story. Something about elderberries. She mentioned my story, Berries of Our Elders. That was a creepy story too, about the flies. Remember that? And they bite and then, oof. So anyway, did you guys see anything? Timestamp it so others can go back and look as well. We definitely heard footsteps, heard a tree knock. And I'm going to dust off a couple more of these stories and come back and read them to you. And you'll see me at that time when it comes soon here on Homesteading Off the Grid, the most popular homesteading channel on the internet that has absolutely nothing to do with homesteading. Remember, you can check out all my books on Amazon and print or Kindle. You can get autographed copies of the ones we have listed on Etsy. The links for those places are in the description box below. I want to thank everybody who follows us on Facebook. My beautiful bride Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, runs the Homesteading Off the Grid Facebook page, which is doing very well. She's always loading content on there. She actually shows stuff around our property if you want to see our gardens and orchards and stuff. And thank you for coming over to support our Sick Twisted Humor page on Facebook. It's like 656,000 followers now. Between this channel and that page, we're over 1 million now. And thank you for going through our Amazon affiliate storefront. That link's in the description box when you begin your Amazon shopping every day. We get commissions on products you purchase after having gone through our link. And you basically buy our gas and groceries for us every month by doing that. We can't thank you enough. We know the only reason we're successful on social media is because of your support, your viewership, and we appreciate it. See you for more next time.